me a minute, and that will be really nice. So fantastic, all of you could join today. And today we are going to have a very interesting session. There are so many interesting things that Krishna is going to share. So I really have a wonderful audience today. I already have Dev Chandan also, and Uma, Kumar, Saran, and Hina Mataji is here. So hopefully some more devotees will join us very soon. But as they are trickling in, we can begin with the pranam mantras, the prayers, like we do every time, and people can join in very soon. Okay, so let me share my screen, and all of you can please try to repeat the invocation prayers. All right, so I have my recorder also on. Just give me a minute so that I can share the screen with all of you. So meanwhile, today you can also think about some very interesting questions that may pop up in your mind. And in the last 15-20 minutes, we are going to take some question answers. So that way it will be really very nice to discuss some important questions that may really come to your mind. And it's important that we ask questions all the time, because questions will lead to so many wonderful things. Because many times philosophy is one thing, but when we actually ask questions, there are so many new things that will get revealed to us. So please also keep thinking about the questions as we are discussing the session. So that will be really good. So all right, I think now I'm ready to go. So let me do it once again. Okay, hope the screen is visible to all of you. So wonderful. Thank you so much for joining here on YouTube as well. I see there are devotees who have joined on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. So great. Let's begin with the pranam mantras and start the invocation prayers. Kindly join your palms and please repeat after me. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome all of you back to this wonderful discussion on Bhagavad Gita that we're having since last several months. So welcome to the session number 32. So we are going to continue with wonderful discussion from where Krishna has left in the previous session. And we have seen how in the previous session there are so many beautiful things that Krishna has revealed basically to the questions of Arjuna, like what is better, karma is better or acquiring jnana is better, and how Krishna very systematically has explained that both are important, both are required, and how all these things can be engaged by the performance of yajna. Only when we perform yajna with knowledge, that becomes very liberating, and that is how the great santaha, they actually get yagnasishta, they enjoy the yagnasishta, only that which is offered in the sacrifice. And in the last session, we also discussed about the cycle of sacrifice, right? So that was very interesting. We understood how that everything in this universe is very rightly connected and how we as human beings can utilize that, right? And Krishna very beautifully explained in the 17th verse about how a person who is atmaratihi, who is atmatriptaha, who is atmasantushtaha, he is always completely detached or has no such obligatory things to perform any duty. You see, so that's a very interesting thing that Krishna has explained. So let's continue from that same line of thought and let's dedicate this session to my beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So I also would like to welcome all of you here on YouTube, and let's chant the shloka, and I request Hina Mataji to unmute and please repeat the shloka for today, and that is 3.18. So we're going to chant. So this is what we have discussed, the cycle of sacrifice in the previous session, and let's continue from where we had stopped, and that is shloka number 18. So here, devotees on YouTube, you can also comment and leave your comments. So that's very nice. So I see Manish Kumar has joined. So wonderful. Thank you so much for being here on YouTube today, Manish. Thank you very much. So Hina Mataji, let's chant this 18th verse. Naivatasya kritenartho
Naivatasya kritenartho
na kriteneha kaschana
nakriteneha kaschana
nachasya sarvabhuteshu
nachasya sarvabhuteshu
kaschid arthavyapashrayah.
kaschid artha vyapashchaha.
Let's do this once again. Naivatasya kritenartho
Naivatasya kritenartho
na kriteneha kaschana
nakriteneha kaschana
tasya sarvabhuteshu
nachasya sarvabhuteshu
kaschid arthavyapashrayah.
kaschid artha vyapashcharyah.
Please repeat the translation. A self-realized man
A self-realized man
has no purpose to fulfill
in the discharge
of his prescribed duties,
of his prescribed duties,
nor has he any reason
nor has he any reason
not to perform such work,
not to perform such work,
nor has he any need
nor has he any need
to depend on any other living beings.
to depend on any other living being.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
So here, very beautifully, Krishna is explaining certain important things, and let's see what Krishna is trying to explain here. This 18th verse and the 19th verse, both are quite closely connected. So here, the central theme of Krishna is the three Ds. What are the three Ds? Duty, detachment, and devotion. So Krishna is basically inspiring Arjuna that you please do your duty, but it should be with detachment and it should be with devotion. Very nice. By the way, in the previous verse, Krishna explained that there are some people who are not obligated to do any duty, their prescribed duty. And who are such people who have no duty or who have no work to do? So, such people are self realized souls and liberated souls. So, the question is, are we self realized or are we liberated? No, we are neither liberated nor we are self realized. That means we are not free from our prescribed duties. We have to work. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, since you are not self realized, although Arjuna is in a very special category, but Krishna is saying to instruct us that since we are at this stage not self realized and we are not liberated, we have to work. We cannot escape from work. Right? So Krishna is telling that only such people who are self realized, na kritenartho. These self realized souls, why are they not obligated to work? It's because na kritenartho means they are not attached to the results of their actions. They are least bothered about the results of the actions that they perform. So they will perform their duties. It's not that Krishna is saying very beautifully, nor has he any reason not to perform such activities. So such people, they don't have any reason that, okay, now I'm self-realized, I'm not going to work. No, it's not like that. They are ready to work, but they are not attached to the result of their actions. They don't have any ounce of expectations from the work that they do. But is that the case with us? You see, anytime when we work, we always have the mentality of profit in it. What will I gain? You know, the very famous FM channel that we all have. Do you know what is the famous FM channel that we all refer to? The famous FM channel that we all refer to is WIIFM. You know what is WIIFM? WIIFM means what's in it for me. So whenever we do any action, we are always constantly thinking about one thing, and that is what's in it for me. What am I going to gain? Man is working very hard. Why? Because ultimately he wants to do something for his family. He wants to take a lot of property. He wants to do something. So all these things are for what? There is some expectation of some result. A homemaker at home, she's also cooking and doing a lot of household things because ultimately there is some expectation from the family members. Similarly, a student, he is expecting that yes, if I work, if I study very hard, then there is a possibility that yes, I can get good marks and then I will ultimately get a good job. So that's an expectation of a student. So as long as we have this expectation, then that results in some sort of problem. We are not self-realized. That means as long as we're expecting some result, we are bound to do work. But a person, a self-realized person, a person who is liberated, who has no such purpose of expectations, then absolutely no problem. He is not obligated to work. You see? So, very nice one statement Prabhupada is making in the translation, nor he has any need to depend on any other living entities. So a person who is self-realized, he is not dependent on anyone. Now that's a very interesting thing. Any living being, it means it includes even the devatas. So such a self-realized person is not dependent on even the devatas. He knows only one thing in his mind. I am a part and parcel of Krishna and I am completely dependent on him. So that's his attitude, completely dependent on the Supreme Lord. So this is what Krishna is explaining, that they have no krite nartaha. They will perform their work, but absolutely no expectation of any result. They have no such purpose. Oh, if I do this, I will make a lot of profit. No, it's not like our mentality where we perform certain work. It's because we have the constant expectation of result, right? So I also see Chaitanya. Thank you so much for joining today here on YouTube, and also Kunal Gaurav. Thank you so much. So he's asking a question: without expectation, how we get results? So that's a very interesting concept. And how do we get results? Because when you do your duty, but there is no expectation of result, the result will come, whether good or bad. It all depends on, because the laws of work, the laws of nature are still working. There are the three gunas, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. The whole material nature is designed in such a way that when you perform your work, there will be results. But you do not have that expectation of result. Result will come. It's not that when you work, there is no result. Result will be there, but you don't expect. Because when you start expecting results, then there is anxiety. Then there is problem. You start getting bound more and more in this karma chakra. But you perform your duty. As a matter of duty, you should do your work. But then when you expect results, that's a problem. It will bind you more and more. Karmana gahano gatihi. It will bind you extremely in difficulty. So don't expect, because that will slowly lead to self-realization. Let's understand that in the next verse. It's very interesting. Okay. So let me invite, okay, Vinod Chandan is also here. So Vinod ji, let's call you here today, and let's have this shloka chanted. You can unmute yourself. I'm going to, just give me a moment, and let's chant this very beautiful shloka. That's the 19th shloka, and hope this is visible to you.
Yes.
The shloka is visible, right?
No, shloka is not visible.
Okay, just hold on. Okay, is it visible now?
No, still it's not visible.
Okay, just give me a minute again. Okay. How about now?
No, nothing, not visible.
Okay, just give me a minute. So it's a very interesting thing that there is a continuation of Krishna's thought here, and let's see what is that. So this is a very interesting thing that happens every time I have. Okay, looks like now it is visible.
No, it's still not visible.
Okay,
Yeah, now it is visible.
great, wonderful. Finally.
Yes.
Okay. Tasmadasakta satatam.
Tasma astak satanam.
Karyam karma samachara.
Karyam karma samakara.
Asakto hi acharan karma.
Asakto hi akaran karma.
Param apnoti purushaha.
Param apnoti purushaha.
Let's do this once again. Tasmadasakta satatam.
Tasma asakta satanam.
Karyam karma samachara.
Karyam karma samachara.
Asakto hi acharan karma.
Asakto hi acharan karma.
Param apnoti purushaha.
Param apnoti purushaha.
Wonderful. Let's repeat the translation. Therefore,
Therefore,
without being attached to the fruits of activities,
without being attached to the fruits of activities,
one should act as a matter of duty.
one should act as a matter of duty.
For by working without attachment,
For by working without attachment,
one attains the supreme.
one attains the supreme.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, this is the continuation of what we discussed in the previous sloka. So, let's understand this in depth. It's very interesting. So, you see, what happens is, let's take an example of a small child. A small baby is completely dependent on the parents and especially the mother. The child is not thinking that, oh, now I will eat, now I will sleep. No, it is completely dependent. So, just like that, the self realized soul, devotees, are fully dependent on that Supreme Lord in such a way, just like a baby, where this self realized souls, they say, oh my Lord, if you want me to eat, I will eat. If you want me to sleep, I will sleep. If you want me to preach to this innocent people, then I'm going to go and preach to them. So, it's so much dependency is there that anything that the Lord says that the self-realized souls will do. They have nothing for themselves. They have no such plans that I'm going to create this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to have a lot of followers. No such expectations at all. They have only one thing, just depend on Supreme Lord. Just like a small baby, you must have an experience of seeing how the small babies, they are fully dependent on the parents. They have no such plans that what am I going to do next half an hour or 1 hour. Absolutely no such plans. They are only thinking that I will depend on my parents and they will take care of everything. So, this is exactly what Krishna is telling. Develop this mentality of a baby. Let's develop this mentality. And that's exactly what the self-realized souls have done. They have developed this mentality like a baby where they are completely dependent on the Supreme Lord for their sustenance, their maintenance, and everything else. So, can we also develop this? Krishna says, yes, it's possible. We all can actually develop this mentality like a small baby. But how is it possible? It's possible when we work. But work in such a way that you don't hanker for the result. See what Krishna is saying? Without being attached to the fruits of activities. So what happens is you work, but don't expect the results. Don't be dependent and hanker for the results. Then what's happening is every time you are depending on the Lord for the result, not on your actions. So your dependency is not on your actions, your own, oh, I have done so much. I am so great. I'm going to work and I'm going to make so much money. So what happens is every time you perform an action, there is an internal ego. I have done, I have to get result. But if you can minus that ego and depend on Krishna, that I'm going to work and depend on Krishna for the result, that is sacrifice. So gradually when you start sacrificing your actions in such a way, being detached from the results, you're taking one step closer to Krishna. You're taking one step towards becoming self-realized. That means you're taking one step towards depending on Krishna. It's very important concept, please understand. Anyhow, whether we believe it or not, we are still dependent, although we are working and we are still expecting results. But ultimately, all the resources that we are using is provided to us by Supreme Lord, isn't it? Is there anything that is there for a sustenance or maintenance which is completely dependent on us? We have acquired? No. It's the Lord who is giving us. But a sensible person knows that I should not simply utilize all the resources given by the Lord for my own sense gratification. Let me offer it to the Lord. That's an attitude of a sensible person. When you gain something, you derive something from a person, you want to give it back. That's a culture. A civilized person should do that. There's a very nice story I would like to share with all of you. So there was this rich man and a very wealthy person. He had a lot of properties and he was a big landlord, businesses. He had 4 sons and 4 daughter-in-laws also, and very big house and grandchildren and all these things. Now, as he was growing old, he thought that, okay, the business is managed by my sons, but the household affairs needs to be taken care of. They should be maintained nicely by all my daughter-in-laws. So he was thinking, how do I delegate the right thing which is appropriate according to their nature? So what he did was, he called all his daughter-in-laws, the 4 daughter-in-laws, and gave them 5 grains of wheat each. To each one of them, he gave 5 grains of wheat and told them, take these 5 grains of wheat and I'm going to ask you back these 5 grains after 5 years. Now, they took it, and then the 4th daughter-in-law, she was thinking, what's wrong with my father-in-law? Looks like he's growing old and he's losing all his sense. He's given us these 5 grains of wheat. There are so much of wheat grains in the go down and he's giving me 5 grains here. Oh, I'm not going to do anything with these. She just threw it away. She thought if he asked me 5 years later, I'm going to take some 5 grains from the go down and I'm going to show it to him. So she just threw it, the 4th daughter-in-law. The 3rd daughter-in-law, she also took it and she was thinking that, what will I do with this 5 grains? Just 5 grains? Okay, I really can't do anything, but at least let me eat it. So the 3rd daughter-in-law, she just ate it off. And that's it. If he asked me later, 5 years later, then I'm going to give him taking from the go down. She took it, she thought it like that. And then the 2nd daughter-in-law, she thought, okay, my father-in-law has given me something, I should preserve it. So she thought that I will keep this 5 grains in a nice silk cloth and I'll keep it in a safe where it will not get lost. And 5 years later, when he will ask me, I'm going to give it back to him. So she was cautious not to throw it or eat it, but keep it safe so that she can produce it 5 years later. But the 1st daughter-in-law, she thought, if my father-in-law has given me these 5 grains, there is some reason. He's a very learned person and he does something only with a purpose. So if he has given me these 5 grains, let me utilize this. So this 1st daughter-in-law, she thought that, let me take these 5 grains and sow it in the backyard. So she did that, and in due course of time, this 5 grains, they sprouted and then they grew very nicely and there were some more wheat grains. So she took that wheat grains and then she sowed it again and there were new harvest. So this she continued for the next 5 years. And then like this, all the things were going on, and 5 years later, the father-in-law, this wealthy person, he called all these 4 daughter-in-laws and he asked the 4th one, my dear daughter-in-law, I had given you 5 grains of wheat grains. What did you do? Now, she did not expect that my father-in-law will remember and he will ask, but now he's asking. Now, she had to admit that she just threw it away. And the father-in-law just nodded and, all right. He just kept quiet. And he said, now on, your duty is to take care of all the cleaning and mopping and every cleaning aspect of the go down, of the kitchen, of the courtyard, and the whole household is your responsibility. It is you, the 4th daughter-in-law, who is supposed to take care of all the cleaning activities, all the household things, is your duty. The third one was called upon, and the third daughter-in-law said that I'm so sorry, I ate the 5 grains that you had given me. So then the father-in-law said, all right, you will take care of the kitchen, the cooking department. There is a saying that anybody who eats a lot, especially who is a foodie, he also cooks a lot. I don't know how true it is, but then there is a saying like that. But this particular responsibility of cooking was given to the third daughter-in-law. And then the second daughter-in-law was invited, and then she was asked about, oh, what happened to the 5 grains? And then the second daughter-in-law was like, oh, my dear father-in-law, you just see, I have kept everything safe. All these 5 grains of wheat that you have given me, it's here in the silk cloth. I have preserved them. So now this father-in-law thought, okay, that's good. So he said, okay, you take care of the accounts of the home. Any 1 paisa that comes in and 1 paisa goes out, all the accounts of the home should be taken care by you. So this was the responsibility given to the second daughter-in-law. And then the first daughter-in-law was called, and then she was asked. And there she says that, my dear father-in-law, the 5 grains that you gave me, I don't have the exact 5 grains, but then I can actually bring 5 trucks of grains which were produced by these 5 grains. So in the last 5 years, I have actually made it and multiplied and grown so much of wheat that I need 5 trucks now to bring them all. So the father-in-law was so pleased with this first daughter-in-law, and he said that, you have pleased me so much, from now you will take care of the treasury of the home. All the treasury at home is under your responsibility. So you see, when you utilize the resources of the Lord and utilize them back to glorify the Lord is very pleased. And He is going to give you so much more. So what are the resources that Lord has given us? He has given us this wonderful body, the human body. Not just the body, He has given us the mind to think. He has given us the intelligence to discriminate between right and wrong. So you see, all these are resources. Please understand, if one day your mind stops to think, what will happen to you? Just imagine. Just take a few seconds and imagine. If for one day, just imagine now, this new year is coming, 2021, on Jan 1st, when you wake up, you are unable to think. There are no thoughts at all. What will happen to you? Some of us may even get a heart attack. I'm not able to think anything. No thoughts are coming. You see, this is the problem. We have to identify the resources that is being given to us by the Lord. Right? So, that is the correct utilization. That's the right utilization of the resources that is being given to us by the Lord. So, very interesting Krishna is sharing here. And now, these people, the self-realized souls, they will definitely do all that is needed for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Krishna is saying, Param apnoti purushaha. Param. They attain the Supreme. We are also interested in Supreme, the Supreme goal. That's why we are here, understanding the Bhagavad Gita. And such people, they are not interested in anything that is for personal attachment, which is of personal attachment. Like Arjuna, being a good person or being non-violent is a personal attachment. So Krishna is saying, don't be attached to these personal things. Oh, I'm a good person, I'm a non-violent person. No, you have to act. Like Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira was told in the battlefield, while the Kurukshetra war was going on, Yudhishthira was told, hey Yudhishthira, Krishna is telling to Yudhishthira, please tell a lie that Ashwatthama has died. And Yudhishthira said, no. I'm not going to tell a lie because I have always spoken the truth. Now that's a personal attachment. When Krishna is telling you to lie, please lie. Now when Supreme Lord is telling you to lie, then you have to lie. You just do as per what Krishna wills, right? As per the desire of Krishna. And because Yudhishthira did not tell a lie, he had to have a darshan of the Naraka, the hellish planets, just for this one thing. You see? So this is how we need to act. Just act as per the Supreme Lord. Be dependent on the Supreme Lord and things will be taken care. Okay? So there are wonderful questions also coming here. Manish is saying expectations hurts a lot. Exactly, Manish. It's very true. anytime there are any expectations that we have, there is so much of problem that we have to face. Chaitanya is also asking Prabhu, when even devotees have expectation to get liberated, getting moksha, does it come under desire? In fact, the pure devotees, they do not even expect any such desire of liberation. In fact, it is said in the Shastras that when you become ardent devotee of Krishna, Mukti Devi, the predominating deity of liberation, she stands at your doorstep. She's waiting at your doorstep to take you, to give you liberation. But the pure devotees are, no, I don't want liberation. I want to be in the service. You know, the pure devotees, they do not hanker for liberation because they are already liberated. For them, it really doesn't matter whether they are in the spiritual world or they are in this material world or they are in the hellish planets. Because for a devotee, the only aim in life is to serve Krishna. Even if a devotee is sent to the hellish planets, his only aim is, how will I serve the Supreme Lord in the hellish planets? That is the mood with which they move forward. You see? So that's the mood of a pure devotee. They really don't hanker for liberation. If they're hankering for liberation, he's still not a pure devotee. He's a jnani. He's a jnani. A jnanis, they are interested in mukti, but not a pure devotee, not a Shuddha Bhakta. Okay? So we also should utilize these resources that are being given to the Lord and by the Lord, and then become a Shuddha Bhakta. Okay? So that's wonderful. So let's go and chant the next verse, and I hope the screen will be visible now. So let me call Dev. Okay, so Dev is not here. Let me call Uma Kumar. So let me call, yes, Uma, let's chant this shloka, and yes.
Yes, Guruji.
Is it visible to you now?
Yes, it is visible, Guruji.
The 20th verse?
Yes.
No, I think the 19th verse is displayed for you. Just confirm once again the 20th verse.
Yes, Guruji. 28th verse only.
Wonderful, very nice. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim
Karmanaiva hi samsiddham
astita janakadayah
astita janakanayadaha
lokasangram evapi
lokasangram evapi
sampashyan kartum arhasi.
sampaskayam kartum aharsi.
Once again, karmanaiva hi samsiddhim
Karmanaivami samsiddhim
astita janakadayah
astita janakanayaha
lokasangraham evapi
lokasangraham evapi
sampashyan kartum arhasi.
sampatsayam kartum aharsi.
Wonderful. Repeat the translation. King such as Janaka
King Sacha Janaka
attained perfection
attained perfection
solely by performance of prescribed duties.
solely by performance of prescribed duties.
Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general,
just for the sake of educating the people in general,
you should perform your work.
you should perform your work.
Thank you. So, this is a very interesting shloka. And here now, in this 20th shloka, Krishna is giving Arjuna a role model. See, we all need some role models in life, isn't it? When we want to get inspired, if we have people whom we can emulate, it becomes very easy for us to practice certain things. To practice what we believe in, we need some role models who have already practiced and have some experience in the particular field, right? So then we get really inspired, and each one of us need role models. So here Krishna is telling, giving an example of Janak Maharaj. And now Janak Maharaj is the father of Mother Sita. What a great personality he is. He is the father-in-law of Lord Rama, not an ordinary person. Now, Janak Maharaj is a self-realized soul. Janak Maharaj was so great devotee that almost every single day in his court, in his assembly, there used to be sages, exalted sages like Yagnavalkya, Astavakra Muni, there used to be Gargi, and constantly they used to churn and churn the scriptures and listen and hear and understand these beautiful things from the scriptures. And Janak Maharaj was continuously, always, constantly absorbed in listening to these glorifications of the Lord. What an amazing person, you see. Now he's completely self-realized, but he's also a Kshatriya. So, as a Kshatriya, he had his prescribed duties. What is the prescribed duty? He had to fight battles with few other enemies. You see, he's a self-realized person. Now, self-realized person, natasya karyam, he has no work, but still, in spite of being self-realized, he is performing his Kshatriya duties. So, violence is needed when good arguments fail. Many times when there are so many good things, you can try to avoid the battles and the wars by good communication. But then when that fails, then there should be violence. So violence for the right cause is needed. And that's exactly what happened even in Mahabharata. You see, just before this Kurukshetra, now every possible effort was made to stop the war, isn't it? Krishna himself, as he went as a Shantiduta to Hastinapura to have this compromise, but that didn't work. Now Krishna is natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. He has no activity to do. But being the Supreme Lord, he is setting an example. He himself is trying to go between this Pandavas and Kauravas and trying to mediate between both of them. You see, he has no work to do, but he's performing work. Why? Because they are interested in lokasangraham evapi. Now, this is a very interesting thing. Lokasangraham, the great people, self-realized people, they work because they want to set an example to the common man. Now, when experienced people, they work, it inspires people. Now, although there are a lot of instructions given in the scriptures, the Vedas and the Puranas, they give a lot of instructions for a common man to perform actions. But still, a common man needs someone to emulate. And that's why experienced people need to work, to set an example. You see? So wonderful. So Janak Maharaj is here. Krishna is telling, so please take advantage of this example that I am giving, Arjuna. He's also a Kshatriya. Just like you, he's a Kshatriya and he was self-realized. Still he performed the work. Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. So why don't you also perform your duty now? So it's a very apt example that Krishna is giving to Arjuna. So very important, right? So with this very same thought, this very same thing, let's understand the very important shloka of today. Of course, all the shlokas are important, but then today, this is the highlight of today's session, and that is the next verse. And what Krishna is going to explain. Who are these experienced people? How should we understand these experienced people? Let's understand in the next verse. So, since we have Dave is not here, so Hina Mataji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant this shloka. It's a very interesting shloka. Yes. So, is it visible to you?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Now it is visible.
Wonderful. All right. Yad yad acharati shreshta
Yad yad acharati shreshthas
tat tat evetaro janah
tat tad evetaro janah
Sayat pramanam kurute.
Sayat pramanam kurute.
Lokastat anuvartate.
Lokastad anuvartate.
Let's do that once again. Yad yad acharati shreshta.
Yad yad acharati shreshthas.
Tat tat evetaro janah.
Tat tad evetaro janah.
Sayat pramanam kurute.
Sayat pramanam kurute.
Lokastat anuvartate.
Lokastad anuvartate.
Repeat the translation. Whatever action is performed by a great man,
Whatever action is performed by a great man,
common men follow in his footsteps.
common men follow in his footsteps.
And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts,
And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts,
all the world pursues.
all the world pursues.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, here it's a very interesting shloka and the most important shloka. Here, Krishna is talking about the quality of a leader, the importance of a leader. Now, just in the previous verse, Krishna explained that Arjuna, there is Janaka who is a great leader. You emulate him. And here in this shloka, Krishna is saying that whatever a great man does, a leader does, the people will follow. Just like during this COVID, when the Prime Minister made an announcement that all of us should come to the balcony and we should make some noise with the musical instruments, or you should come and light some diyas. So you see, each and every one in the whole country, people were coming out and they were playing some musical instruments and lighting diyas, right? So whenever a great man does something, a leader does something, the common man wants to follow. And Krishna is saying, yad acharati, acharya. Who is an acharya? A person who does prachara. A person who does prachara based on his achara is called an acharya. And his achara is based on the scriptures. So acharya is one who actually practices what he preaches. He sets an example. That's why they say that, example is better than precept. So we can have a lot of rules and regulation, but when you actually set an example, that is much better than actually forming rules and regulations. People want to have an example. So all of us should set an example by becoming good leaders. So there were Dronacharya, there were Kripacharya, there are so many acharyas, right? Yamunacharya, Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, all are called Acharya. Prabhupada is also called as the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Why Acharya? Because they preach what they practice. That's why they are called Acharya. There is integrity between their thoughts, their words, and their actions. But can we say the same thing about us? No, actually our thoughts are something else, our words are something else, our actions are something else. So there is a complete disintegration between all these things. So that's why we are not happy. But when we align our life in such a way that our thoughts, our words, and our actions are in line, then we will become happy. So, yad acharati shreshtas. We should set an example. And such an acharya should be well behaved. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that a teacher is one who should actually learn how to behave properly before he goes and teaches something to people. But do we see these things happening in today's schools and colleges? You see, most of the teachers, they themselves have no idea, no clue about what is right behavior. They themselves sometimes misbehave in front of the students, and they are no good examples for the students to emulate. So how can we expect a very highly civilized society when the teachers themselves do not have an idea of what is culture. And today, unfortunately, the level of role models has declined to, film stars, these movie stars and sports stars and business magnates. So all these people have become role models for us. But we should have a little understanding. I mean, are these people really role models for us? Many times we see that such movie stars and political people, they say something and they keep doing something. They are always looking for their own artha, and they are really least bothered about what happens to their fans. There was this great person who was a celebrity in US in 1950s or 60s, and he started smoking, and he also came up in this ad of a cigarette, and he was smoking, and people, that's when started smoking in masses. A lot of people adopted to smoking. They started this getting into the habit of smoking after seeing this celebrity. And then he realized, oh, such a grave mistake I have done, that people are actually suffering. You see? And I saw this one very weird advertisement. Now, one of these superstar from Bollywood, he has this advertisement on this fairness cream called Fair and Handsome for men. Now, in this ad, he has applied that, and all the women are surrounding him and they are taking photographs. And then there is a person, one of his fans, who is also seeing, and he's quite morose. And then this star looks at this morose person and says, hey, come on, take this cream, this fairness cream, and then everything will be all right. And this person applies, and then you see that all these women are surrounding him also. Now, what do these people think about us? They are making fool out of us. And they're all superstars. Do we need such role models? You apply some cream, you become fair, and all the women will surround you, and you take photographs, and then you become very glamorous. What's wrong with us? We have to use our intelligence. We should not fall for all these things. So, this is total nuisance, and we, from the spiritual perspective, we should be very clear about all these nonsensical ads that we see. So, we should not accept such people who are so materialistic as role models in our life, who have no clue about what is right and wrong. They have become our role models today. So it is the blind leading the blind. We are already blind. If we have a person who is also blind, who is going to lead us only into a ditch. So we want a person who can visualize things for us, who can open us. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We want someone who can show us the torchlight. Hey, come on, don't go into this ditch, I'll show you the pathway. So that's a role model. So do we have such leaders today? No. Unfortunately, we have no such leaders who can guide the society in the right direction. So it's a big, big problem that we are in right now. And why we need such good leaders? Because common men will follow. Common people are following. And why there is so much of corruption? Because the top leaders are so corrupt. What can we expect from all the people down line? You see? So whatever a great person does, it trickles down. It trickles down. This is the top to bottom approach. Krishna is saying this is how the society is designed. So now to become a leader, it's not that we need to have some 100,000 followers. We all can be leaders in our own capacity. We can all influence people to the degree to which we have our capacity and influence. So it's not that we have to wait upon something. No, only when if I get about 100,000 followers, then I will be a leader. No. Prabhupada says in the purport that a king, a teacher, and a father are natural leaders in the society. And as natural leaders in the society, we are supposed to train our dependents. So leaders are supposed to educate the dependents and take them into the right direction. But that is missing, unfortunately. So that is not right. So Prabhupada, yad yad achariti shreshtas, he is an acharya. Prabhupada did not have a separate private life and a public life. Whatever Prabhupada was in public, he was also the same in private. Now, many of us may become something in public life, but in our private life, many people they are stinking with so much of dirt within their heart. Now, in public, we can show off so many things. Oh, I'm wearing those plastic smiles and different types of masks. We can fool the people, but not the Lord and our own selves. So, I think it's important that we should have a great personality like Prabhupada as an acharya. Acharya means one who sets an example. Now, when I started reading Prabhupada books, I was so fascinated and inspired by the philosophy, about the soul, about the karma, about the three modes of nature, and so many philosophical things. But when I read Srila Prabhupada's biography, when I understood the life of Prabhupada, that was the most inspiring thing. Why? Because all that philosophy which had inspired me, I saw that there is a person who has actually followed all of them. I saw that Prabhupada has lived life as per the instructions given by Krishna in the scriptures. And that is the most inspiring thing. And it inspired me to the extent where I dedicated my life for his mission. You see? So many times we take some very strong decisions in our life, and that is possible when you have great people to emulate. So luckily, fortunately, I found Prabhupada, and today I am here speaking with all of you, and it's all because his mercy. So we need acharyas to inspire us in the right direction. And why such acharyas? Because they do not deviate from the scriptures. They speak everything as per the scriptures. Anybody who simply speaks anything that comes to his mind, he is not an acharya. An acharya is one who is in line with the scriptures, in line with the words of Krishna, with the Vedas. That is an acharya. That's very important. So that is how yad yad acharati shreshtaha. Such acharyas are called shreshtaha. And there are shreshtaha in every field. There is shreshta in cricket, maybe it's Sachin Tendulkar. There is a shreshta in basketball, Michael Jordan or whoever it is. There is a shreshta in music field. There is a shreshtaha in dance field. So there are shreshtaha in each and every field. But who becomes a real shreshtaha? Not simply by external talents, but a shreshtaha is one who is pure with his inner character. A shreshta is not simply by external talent, but it is defined by one's internal character. He becomes a shreshtaha. And acharyas are great shreshtaha. Yad yad achari shreshtaha. So we should follow such shreshtaha. So now, there is a very nice pastime that comes in Ramayana also. When Lord Rama was exiled, he was sent away to the forest because of Kaikeyi. And Bharat got to know about this. And when he comes, he was devastated to see that his mother has done such a grievous thing. And then Bharata goes to the forest in search of Lord Rama. And then he wants to bring Lord Rama back. But then when both of them meet, Lord Rama has given a very beautiful instruction as to how a king has to be. It's not an instruction, but an indirect way, a very sensible way of asking Bharat how is he performing his activity? So let's understand how a king should behave. It is very nicely explained in Ramayana, and I have this Valmiki Ramayana from this is Gorakhpur Press. Very beautifully it is explained. Initially, Lord Rama is asking about, oh dear king, is everything okay with our father? I hope he is doing well and he is still not gone away to the Devatas. So he's asking about his father and trying to understand if his father is all right. And then he's also asking about, is the celebrated Vasishta, who has realized Brahma, is learned, ever devoted to the virtue and possessed by great splendor, duly honored by you. He's asking, are you respecting Vasishta Muni, who is our also Kula Guru, who is also in, and also are you respecting the priest, his son, very nicely? You see, then he's also inquiring, oh king, are you taking care of Mother Kaushalya, about Sumitra, and your glorious mother Kaikeyi? After asking about the family, then Lord Rama is asking to Bharat, these are all very fine things about a leader, the qualities of a leader, especially a king, because king is a natural leader of the society. So here Lord Rama is asking, I hope, O Bharata, the counselors who are valiant like you and full of learning have controlled their senses, are born of high pedigree and known by the signs. See, such an important point for a king. A king should have counselors who have self-restraint, whose senses are controlled. And they should be coming in a very high pedigree. High pedigree means a very good lineage. Just like in a horse race, you don't simply bet on any horse. Only when a horse is from a very high pedigree, then you bet on it. So here, Rama is asking, I hope your counselors are of a very high caliber, who are self-controlled. See, another very interesting thing. I just read out. Rama is saying, oh Bharata, a secret well guarded by ministers who are the foremost counselors and well versed in politics is the root of victory of kings. Another secret for the kings, especially for today's politicians. So a secret well guarded. Lot of secrets. A king means there will be a lot of secrets he should be dealing with. So it should be guarded properly with the ministers. The ministers should not speak all the secrets openly to the public. It should not become public. So your ministers, I hope your ministers, they are keeping the secrets intact. Then, I hope you are not deliberating alone, nor you are deliberating with so many people on important aspects. See, suppose when you want to take a decision, you have to deliberate. But you should not deliberate only on your own mind, depending on your own mind, because it may cheat you. A king should always have a counselor, a council of people. And at the same time, a king should ensure that he doesn't have too many people, because when too many people are there, then it will become khichdi. So like that, there are many, many instructions Lord Rama is giving to Bharata, and he's saying that you should take care of the praja like this, you should take care of the, how you should divide the salary between high level of servants, middle level servants, low level servants. So many such descriptions. So all that today's leaders require is given by Lord Rama in Ramayana. So we just have to follow. In Ayodhya Kand, this comes in Ayodhya Kand, in Valmiki Ramayana, it is the 100th canto. Just refer to this and everything is there. So wonderful. So leaders have a blueprint how to lead a nice, how to develop leadership qualities. We don't have to go anywhere else. So this is how Lord Rama has instructed. And one more very interesting thing that we should know is, as practicing devotees, we should have a full, we should have this board of acharyas. The modern term, the board of acharyas. Generally, we use a board of mentors and board of so many people, but we need to have a board of acharyas, which means that we need to have the instructions of all great acharyas, and there are 12 Mahajanas. Who are these 12 Mahajanas? These 12 Mahajanas, it is explained by Yamraj in the Srimad Bhagavatam, like Swayambhu Manu, Narada, Shiva, the four Kumaras, Brahma, Balip Chakravarti, Prahlad Maharaj, and Bhishmacharya. So all these are Yamraja himself, Shukadev Goswami. All these are Mahajanas. Mahajana ena gatasya pantaha. So we should follow this great Acharya's instruction. And very interestingly, Prabhupada is a very good representative of all these 12 Acharyas. So if we can simply follow the instructions of Prabhupada, nothing like that, our life will be very simple and very important to follow Prabhupada. The reason being, he has given us instructions which are contemporary, which are meant for our time, place, and circumstances. Since we are in the 20th century today, we can easily follow the instructions given by Prabhupada. So I think that's why it makes more sense to follow Prabhupada now. He's the current Acharya for the next 10,000 years. So that will make our life very sublime. So this is what Krishna has explained in these 4 verses, 18th, 19th, 20th and 21st. So he has explained very beautifully the importance of leader, and we need to have role models in our life, and then how we need to emulate these people. At the same time, he's telling that please do not be attached to your results of your actions. By doing so, you will become self-realized. It will help you to take one step closer towards Krishna. You will become more dependent on Krishna. So this is where I want to stop. I want to open up it for now question answers. So devotees on YouTube as well as on StreamYard here, I request you to ask questions. I see there are some questions already on the comment section. So let me see what are those. So let me understand these questions. Let's see. So Vinodji is asking that in case we work without any outcome, expectation, won't the work quality deteriorate? So the quality of work is not simply dependent on the outcome of it, but it is also dependent on the intention of the work. So when you do any work, it's not simply the outcome that we get out of it is important. Most important is also that what is my intention behind that work. So that defines the quality of the work. The intention of our work defines the quality of the work. Now, when you have a very clear intention that, yes, I want to satisfy the Supreme Lord, just like the first daughter-in-law, she got something from the father-in-law, the 5 grains, and she used her intelligence. Now, it's not that she kept quiet. She also thought very wisely, and she also produced 5 trucks of grains. So there was that act of producing more and more result. Definitely, she was interested in result, but to please, her intention was to please the father-in-law. So similarly, you can also do a lot of work and you can actually enhance your outcome also. The output can be enhanced. You can increase more and more profits and everything can be done. But what is your intention? If your intention is, yes, I want to please Krishna by this, then that's fine. It is purifying. In fact, the more output you create by your work and then utilize that outcome for the service of the Lord without being attached, that's amazing yajna. That's a sacrifice. You are sacrificing the result of your actions that is very pleasing to Krishna. So that becomes yajna for you. You see? So that is how we need to work. So I hope that answers your question. So let me see some questions here on YouTube also. So Manish was asking, expectations hurts a lot. Yes, that is true. And he also said that how we will reduce expectations. Yes. So anytime and every time when we work, there is definitely that expectations of result. But how do we actually get rid of those expectations? No, that's important. So if you can develop this culture, if you train your mind by serving the Lord, I'll tell you one thing. It's not simply a philosophical thing, but a very practical thing that you can do in your day-to-day life. How do you do this? Let's say. See, when I began, or not just me, most of the people who are spiritualists, who are wanting to develop spiritual life, when they start going to the temple, visiting the temple, not simply to pray and do some agarbatti and then break some coconut and come, but you stay there, you do some practical service, you start engaging in practical devotional service, maybe cleaning the temple, mopping the temple, and interacting with people, and then also trying to understand what is the temple work look like. When you start understanding this culture of the temple, when you start visiting the temple and then understand from the devotees there and engage yourself in devotional service, what happens is gradually you are performing action there, but that action you are not expecting anything. So when you start doing this service, there is an automatic pleasure that you get. And that pleasure is so wonderful, that experience is so wonderful, that you really don't want any result out of it. Now just imagine, just by going on a weekend, you do some service and you are experiencing so much of bliss. If that can continue day after day, then gradually your attention towards result will reduce. And I think that happens with most of the devotees. In my own practical experience, I'll tell you, when I came to Bangalore and I started working, so what happened was, all throughout the week, I used to work, and weekend I was waiting, when will I go to the temple? Now, the reason for that was, one is, number one, wonderful kirtans, nice music. At the same time, very nice, delicious prasadam in the temple. But we used to get the prasadam only after doing a little bit of service. So we used to do some service, and that service also was very joyful. So what happened was, weekend we used to go, stay in the temple overnight and do service. So when you used to do service, distributing the passes, take some padukas, that when people come, a lot of volunteers come, people come to visit the temple, we used to collect their footwear and arrange the footwear. So that's the paduka seva. So when you start doing these menial services, cleaning, mopping, gradually what happens is you're acting, but that action is only for the pleasure, happiness, not for any material result. So Manish, when this happens with you, when you start doing some seva, practical devotional service, then you will see that your expectations will reduce automatically. You will not hanker for any results. So this is the one practical method you can definitely try out. You can experience it by yourself. Right? So I also see that some more people have joined here on YouTube. Please make your presence felt, and you can leave your comments, say some Hare Krishna and make some noise there in the chat section. So meanwhile, I'm also looking for some more questions, and let's see here. Uma is asking, Uma Kumar, how to break the fasting on Ekadashi day, Guruji? So, okay, wonderful, very nice. So, very recently, 2 days ago, we had Vaikuntha Ekadashi, and every Ekadashi, we are supposed to fast from grains. We are not supposed to take food grains. So now, what do we do to break the fast? So that's the question. On the day of Ekadashi, we do not take any grains. But the next day, on Dwadashi, that is the 12th day, you have to take food grains, especially that is offered to the Lord, which is offered to the Lord as prasadam during the Parana time. See, after the sunrise, there is a time slot called the Parana time, and you can break your fast by taking grains in that particular time. So in that time, it's called Parana time, you can take. Generally after sunrise, you take bath and you take a little grain. That is how you can break the fast. But if you have done nirjal, you have not taken water also the previous day. So then next day, you have to break the fast by drinking water, because you have done without water the previous day. But you have taken the water on the Ekadashi, then Dwadashi you can take milk and break the fast. Now, if you have taken milk on Ekadashi, the next day on Dwadashi you can take fruits and break the fast. If you have taken fruits on Ekadashi, then on the next day you can take grain and break the fast. So this is the sequence that you can follow, and there are no hard and fast rules, but the most important thing is no matter what you do, how you fast on this Ekadashi, on Dwadashi you can take grains in the Parana. Okay, so that's the question. So let's take some more questions so that we will be very nice. So devotees on YouTube as well as on StreamYard here, any questions, please feel free to ask questions. You can also unmute yourself. Yeah. So Krishna is going to explain a lot of things in the next section. Of course, this continuation will happen for a few more shlokas. This section number 3 that we're discussing, chapter 3. So it's going to be very interesting that Krishna is going to give another very interesting example in the next upcoming shlokas. So before we have the session ended, if there is any question, please feel free to ask. And also, before I let all of you go, I have some very important announcement to make, and that is every first Sunday of the month, we will have a session on practical spirituality. So on every first Sunday, we will not have the Bhagavad Gita session, but we will have a session on practical spirituality. Now, it is very essential because there are so many aspects in devotional life, and we all need to practice spirituality. It's not simply a theoretical thing. So in this practical spirituality sessions, we will have different themes. Like when we visit a temple, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to do the pranams? How are we supposed to pay obeisances to a Vishnu deity, to the spiritual master, to the Vaishnavas, to the Devatas? So that is one thing. How do we offer prayers? That is also one theme that we can have, that session on that. Then we can have a session on how to offer food at home and how do we actually chant on the beads. So there are so many different things that we are supposed to discuss on practical spirituality. So this is what we are going to plan, and since next Sunday happens to be the first Sunday of the new year, so we will have the session on practical spirituality, and hopefully this whole year 2021 will be a very practical year for us in our journey in spiritual life. So that's most important. Since last few months we have been discussing a lot of theory from the Bhagavad Gita, but this is the right time that we start discussing practical spirituality. So every first Sunday of month we will have a session on practical spirituality, and you can invite a lot of people for these, because there are a lot of people, although they may not be interested in Bhagavad Gita, it is possible that they may be interested in actually knowing certain practical things. So you can invite these people, and I'm going to share the details of every session day before or 2 days before, so that you are aware and you can share this to everyone who are interested. So I think this will make a lot of difference in our spiritual growth. So all right, thank you so much for joining me today here on both StreamYard and YouTube. I really appreciate all the time that you invested today in understanding this chapter, these few shlokas of chapter 3. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. I'll see you again next Sunday. Until then, please take care. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend, all of you.
You too, Guruji.
Thank you.